Fernando's not here at the moment. He had to step out. So, normal intro with Fernando, you're not going to get it. But we're working on a Scion Tc, Tc, right? The little two-door coupe. This thing here. It's a Scion. And we're putting one hell of a stereo in it. This guy is going crazy, as I say. And so we're going to walk you through what's happening today, because there's all kinds of cool little parts that we have to make in order to make the magic happen. First thing is the Scion Tc has these, I know, right? They have these great door panels. And what I mean by that is it's one of the few cars that does this. I mean, what more could you ask for? Tweeter, mid-range, mid-bass, all lined up. Oh, yeah. So that's cool. This is also the one and only car that has a radio with RCAs on it. Yeah, that's it. So this Pioneer radio here, there's RCAs on the back of it. So, the unicorn does exist. However, none of that matters, because we are going to change everything. So we're going to put a nice Kenwood 958 XR in the dash, which is cool. Do you recommend the new Morel system for the Ford Bronco? Yeah, actually, it's pretty nice. Yep. Anyways, so we have a ton going in. Let's kind of break it down as far as what we're doing for a three-way set. After talking with him and figuring out how he likes his music played, we came up with he is a candidate for the Flax Series Focal. So we're doing the three-way set, and that is great. However, there are some sucky parts. So this is the factory speaker here, which is not a big deal. The one thing that makes it unique is that it has this cool little flange on it. It's beveled here, and this sits on the top of it, as you can see, like this. And of course, there's its little fast ring that attaches it to the door, which is great. We removed this one so that we could get the actual shape of this factory speaker. And then we took it over to the new tool that we're using. We haven't really talked about it much. This is the brand Shaper, and this is called Trace. And what this allows us to do is we can trace the speaker on here, and then we can sit like this, and it'll take a picture, and then it'll give us the math and this geometry that we need in order to take it into the laptop and create cool stuff with it. And let me go back here. So that is not cool. That looks like a little tiny Twinkie. Let me turn all this stuff on, and I'm gonna go open recent. I think I call it an XC, because, all right, so this is the Trace. We'll turn all this stuff off. Oh, Trace we want to keep on. Get rid of that. So these are all the layers. All right, so Trace gives us this. So that tells us this is the exact shape of that, and you can see, and from there, once we do Trace, we can add this onto it, and now we have the exact shape of the speaker. And from there, we can add in all our other stuff that we need. That doesn't look like a lot, but then if you look at something like the tweeter, hold on. Let me shrink this down some. So like this is the tweeter here, which we'll show you in a second. So no calipers to get it. Nope. So what it does is it gives you the outside dimensions so that you don't have to do anything. So Shaper is the company that makes that cool handheld CNC router that you put a bunch of tape all over it, and the router sits inside. You just kind of move it along, and it tells you to little arrows, and it self adjusts as it moves on. So it's actually capable of getting all the geometry that it needs because it knows what the frame is. Unfortunately, right now, everyone asks the same question. Does it come in a bigger size? No, it is only 8.5 by 11. I'm sure at some point we'll get something bigger. I think the reason why it is this size is this is the size of a standard piece of paper, which is what they figured you'd be using. It comes with a felt tip marker. I like to use a pencil. There are some adjustments you can do. We'll do some videos on it as we go down. We've actually already done a couple trainings on it at CMA in Canada, as well as Mobile Solutions this past week and a half ago. We made some A-pillars that if you follow Mobile Solutions, you've seen the cool little A-pillar things, and we did a lot of that geometry with Trace. And then when we did the Memphis amp rack, the Memphis distribution block was sitting on top of an orange and a blue panel. Those were done using Trace, so trying to get all those little curves, because it's got like 3 or 4 curves in the corner, and that's just ridiculous, and I wanted it to follow the same shape, so we traced it on Trace, and then we were able to use that geometry to make cool stuff. All right, so speaking of cool stuff, so let's take a look at what we came up with here. So we wanted to replicate that cool taper that it has, and of course we wanted to make sure we put the foam back on it so that it acts just like a fast ring and keeps the sound coming in. So that's what we did. So we came up with this cool mount for it. As you can see, it's pretty sexy. It screws into place here and here, and then we buffed and polished the bevel that we put in it so that it would, look extremely cool. And yeah, it just looks extremely cool because it's shiny. Wired it up so that it is good to go, and this will mount back in the door and plug right into place, and that's one speaker done. No, the voice is mine, hasn't changed. Maybe because I'm moving this back and forth, I don't know. You sound like Sage. Oh, cool. No, I haven't done anything. I have a little congestion going on, that might be it. All right, so once we got those done, we had to move on to the next thing, which is the tweeter. And this tweeter, so you can see the little flax tweeter inside there, all centered up and looking sexy. So how did we get to that point? That was another fun one. So this is what was in the door. And you can see by these cool little chewed up areas here and at the top, it was plastic molded into place. And if you're doing a small tweeter, you're good because it'll fit right in. Ours is not a small tweeter. That means we had to come up with another plan. As you can see, it's got some shape to it, and it's not flat, and it's a lot of fun. So that led to this guy here. So this is the tweeter we have, and what it's made out of is a whole bunch of acrylic. And let's kind of deconstruct it a little bit and see what we got going on. The first piece here is a piece of 16th inch, and this is a piece of 1/8 inch. This acts as a spacer so that it keeps the same angle that it did when this one goes in. So that is glued onto there, and you can see the tweeter is recessed in. That is because on the Focal tweeters, there's this thin little gap around the outside that separates from where the grill goes on. And it lines up with this piece here, which is the factory piece. So we try to replicate that, and that means that it's sitting on, the tweeter sits on the back side of this, and then there's another 16th inch here, and that is giving us room for that offset that the tweeter has, and that suspends the tweeter inside of our little cup. And then we make the back piece, which is made out of 1/4 inch. Now we had to come up with a neat idea here, which is these two ends, and this allows us to turn it like this. And the reason why it was very difficult to come up with this shape all in one, because the piece here it's like at an angle, and it's so I could have just gone straight across. I didn't want to, because then I'd have to figure out how to get this, and yeah, we could probably do it with clear, but you're always trying to come up with new ways of doing things, and this way we found the most complicated way to do it, in that we made this bottom piece. It started out and it looked like this, and this gave us the area, and then we figured out this didn't need to be this skinny, which was cool, and it turned into this guy. So this is the beginning, and this, you can see that little tiny lip. This little tiny lip right here is what that tweeter sits on. And you can do that with a laser, which is really cool. You can barely see the little lip. We could put this in place, and that told us where we needed that arm to be. But I also knew that I wanted to get the tweeter perfectly centered in there. And if we added a little bit of adjustment to it and then made this a bigger hole, we could get the tweeter, by turning these, we could get the tweeter perfectly centered, and we wouldn't have to do a whole bunch of, we got to make 27 pieces to make sure we get it perfect. So this allowed us to do some adjustments after the fact and get it all lined up. And now this will go in just like that, and then that's it. So we'll put a screw here, and then we put a screw with a washer here to hold it in place, and we're done. And that's it. What if you don't have a laser? Just because. So the only other option for this is nothing good. 3D printers are becoming more and more affordable. We have one here. We're probably going to get a couple more here in the next couple months because everything seems to be going that way. And while we're out at Mobile Solutions, we got a crash course in Fusion 360, which was really nice. So we'll be playing with that more and more. Lasers are expensive for sure, but you could glue it, but it won't fit into here. And I have a problem gluing a really expensive tweeter and destroying the tweeter. If you have access to ABS, you could probably, we have a Glowforge right now. You could make it with, you could do some work with with ABS and plastics and stuff like that. For making circles and stuff, before we had the laser, we would use these guys here. Hang on, let me flip this around. This guy here, this is a Mobile Solutions circle guide, and it has a bunch of small circles on it, which makes things really nice. And then they have the opposite of those here. So we would use these to create some pretty unique tweeter mounts, along with the micro router bits. So this is a smaller router. This is a small router bit compared to, let's say, the standard quarter round. So as you can see, they make a whole set of these, which are small, which are great for doing tiny tweeter type stuff. But you got to be careful with your fingers. Asking me why I know. Don't. So yeah, there's always the, I don't have a laser. They're getting cheaper though, that's for sure. But 3D printers are pretty affordable now. So we have a laser, so I'm gonna use it and not feel bad about it. Because I love, I was talking with the other day when we were doing the Ram. When we were doing the F-150, and we had to mount the Morel tweeters in the dash, the big suckers. The company that tried to do it before us, they had the Morel tweeter and they glued it into place. So they took a $500 set of tweeters and basically destroyed them, gluing it into the factory bracket. And it was kind of like, oh, that sucks. So there had to have been a better way to do it. I mean, if you're talking about a $100 tweeter, I get it. Sure, why not? I mean, it still sucks, but you're not going to lose any sleep over it. The other day when we did the Tundra 911, when we were live, they put a piece of sound treatment on the back of the tweeter and then some hot glue. It's like, what? Really? Okay. I'm a professional in the sense that this is what I do for a living. And to me, I want to have the best tools I can to make sure I can deliver the best product to the customer. So in that case, laser. Yeah. How long did it take you to fabricate? So we actually, today's been a weird day. The 3.5s, these guys were quick. So it took me longer to polish these just because, and I didn't need to polish these, I just wanted to because we were testing out some new compound that we got from Eduardo over out in Orlando. So believe it or not, that kind of took the most time. Other than that, like drawing this and cutting it out, this is 2 pieces of acrylic, even though it just looks like one. There is a 16th inch piece on the back because, hang on, I'll show you, this is pretty cool. So this, the speaker actually, as you can see, drops into place. So this is pushed all the way into the factory mount, which is really nice. And it's stuck up just a hair, which is about a 16th of an inch. So on the back side of this piece, there's 2 pieces of acrylic that are glued together, and this is a 16th of an inch, so that it allows us to put this in, and this all kind of just locks in place with these little holes. But this took, from everything from trace to final product, screwing it in, about an hour. The tweeter is taking considerably longer because we've never done that and we had to start from scratch. This really wasn't going to work for us, so it was just a process of measuring and cutting and making a couple different ones. The thing is, though, is now that this is done, we'll never have to do this again. So if by some chance, we're having a really bad day out there today. It's like the 3rd or 4th accident out front, so it's been crazy. So with this one took probably 2.5 hours to come to a final product on this. So it seems like it is a lot of time, but the next time it will take 15 minutes. So sometimes things take a minute. But it looks really good and it's gonna work forever, and that's what he paid us for. So got it. Yeah, no, it's there again. The nice thing about having machines that can do this stuff is I only have to do the math once, so I don't ever have to go over and do things again. I've captured this information here, and so if we decide to put it, let's say tomorrow if somebody comes in and wants a 3-way set of morels, we can use this same piece. All I have to do is change this one little circle here, a couple of these circles, and that's it, and we're done. So it makes things really nice. So yes, let's keep going. Kind of got caught up on that, I apologize. Next up is the 6.5s. We'll make some brackets. Those will be simple. As I said, we're getting the 958, and then to power it, yes, it will be full active. We're going with the Blackbird, so he's getting the Blackbird. We picked this for size. He doesn't want to take up a lot of room in the car. He wants it to look as factory as possible. This guy here is nice and tiny and fits underneath the seat, so that is a win there. Then he's getting the Kenwood 112 loaded enclosure, the Exelon version. This is just a different subwoofer, so we can have the right ohm load. We're doing the iData right here, and then he, for the rear, is going to get the perfect fit focals. These will be powered off of the radio, because we can do that. So 1 through 6 will be powering all 6 of the FLAC speakers. 7 and 8 will be bridged to the sub, and the radio will be using its crossover delay and volume limiting circuit so that we can power the rear speakers in the back, and that will be the whole system. Yeah, that'll be it. Pretty cool. So this thing is gonna sound pretty badass. It's pretty cool, you know. It's a little bit older car, but he wanted a badass system for it, so that's what he's getting. The last step for me is to make some mounts for the 6.5s to go where the 6x9s were. We could use the Metros, but since we're making all the other mounts, we figured, screw it, let's just make those too. Because why not? You know, it's going to be fun. I like putting all the little weird like grills and pieces back into the box. Because the way we mount them, if he ever wants to, he can take them out and put them into something else. without, because the tweeters, there's no damage done to the tweeter. So that's kind of cool. I had a local dealer try to tell me the JBL amps and the Infinity amps are different. I always thought they were identical except for the branding. That's a good question. All right. So when you look at like the two DSPs, so they have the JBL makes the 8-channel, Infinity makes the 4-channel. The 4-channel is an AB class, the 8-channel is a D class. So there are some differences there. There are going to be subtle differences in the amplifiers, whether they have the same shape or not, just because manufacturers have the desire to make their things sound a certain way. And even though you're not having a DSP that you can play with, there's definitely one in the amplifier that's taking care of all the problems of Class D or anything like that. So it's not hard for them to change the way the amplifier sounds to make it sound different between what JBL stands for and what Infinity stands for. Another way to think of that is when you look at a Bose system and a truck. So let's take a GM vehicle, both Chevy and GMC. They have identical speakers. And if you sit in a Chevy GMC that has the same 7-speaker setup, if you listen to it in a Chevy and you listen to the GMC, they sound totally different, even though it's the exact same equipment. Because GMC does not like the way Chevy tunes their cars, so they have guys that tunes theirs differently. So it would make sense that there is a different sound between the JBL and the Infinity, even though they both fold under Harman. So yeah, there's that. Speaking of that, so tomorrow, once we get Fernando back in the house and we have some help, this just showed up today. So this just showed up from our good friends at Morel. So this is some Morel stuff. It is not a set of Elate Carbon MW6s, I can tell you that right now. But we will be playing with these. These are probably going to end up in Haley's car. Just because I want to put them in Haley's car. So those will more than likely end up in Haley's car. We will find out what they are tomorrow, so that it gives us a little bit of excitement. But if you want to learn more about Morel, you can find them at morelhifi.com. Or you can go over to Morel's Facebook page and like their page. They had somebody hack their page, which was tragic. And so they started a new page, and you guys have been nice enough to go over there and like their page. So if you haven't done that yet, make sure to head over to Facebook and like Morel's Facebook page, the Hero One in America. Yeah, that's it. That's what we got for you. Today is Monday, which means are Haley's friends jealous of her always sounding good? The funny part is most of Haley's friends don't know what I do. So yeah, most of them don't know what I do. Most of them don't even know Carstera is a thing, so that's even scarier. And Haley doesn't tell any of her friends anything that she does. So yeah, she keeps this duality of life. It's really strange. But hey, to each their own, you know? You got to do what you want to do. But tonight at 6:30, it's Monday, so 6:30 we'll be taking your questions. We'll be having a good time. If you haven't had a chance to see the Boring Life of Dean and Haley that we broadcast last night on the 5-Star Network, along with my Facebook page and the YouTube channel, Boring Life of Dean and Haley, check it out. We showed Haley's project for Mobile Solutions that she did. It turned out really cool. She got second place. She's really excited about it. But check that out. Otherwise, we will see you guys next time. You have a great day. Bye. Look how casual. Just sitting there, scrolling through his phone, swiping left. Who? You. Are you an owl?
Casual.
Yeah. Got your leg up, just leaning up against the workbench, chilling.
What up? Yeah.
What's up, Danny?
Danny. Danny from Michigan?
Danny from Michigan.
Dude,
who's in Ohio.
Yeah, he just finished a car. Badass, bro. Badass. Awesome.
All right, so I'm not even going to answer so no one has asked. All right, so what happened to his arm? So nothing has happened to his arm. This is actually just a remnant from the accident from 2 months ago. He's got a fracture in his thumb, and he's not wearing his brace like he's supposed to because it hurts. So the doctor, little kid, did his ass.
See, but this is what I don't understand. They put a brace.
Yeah, but you didn't wear the brace.
It hurts. And now they put a cast.
And it hurts.
And it hurts.
And it might stop hurting in a month.
Dang, this is bad.
So he got in a car accident. Okay, let me rephrase that. A car hit him. He was doing nothing wrong. So it really wasn't an accident. The other person wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
So
fun.
Checking in from SoCal. Super cold here at 64 degrees. Why it's not 64? When I was looking for the wire, I did find the box of JK tape.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, we got all this JK tape. Cool.
I've been using it.
Well, no, I know, but I didn't.
Small boy, man.
I know that. I was going to order some tape and I forgot we had all that. Yeah, Affleck. No. You poor child.
Dude, I car insurance, hate it.
Car insurance does suck.
But
I didn't find what I was looking for. Fernando actually knew which one of the 50 boxes that he stacked in the corner he had actually moved it to. So
this is like, I look in that box, I look at every single.
Well, you know how I felt about that.
Where is it?
Because his idea of cleaning is just piling everything. Lego.
Where are we gonna put it?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't have answers.
At least it's organized.
I knew where everything was.
Whatever. You're like, it's not there, dude. It's right there. That box says.
Yeah, I don't think he sells it in individual rolls.
Off.
JK tape.
Call them. Yeah. JKtapes.com. So.
Yeah, I think he just sells it by the sleeve.
Yeah.
It's way too hard.
Yeah.
How do you like the JK tape?
I love it. It's awesome. They make this cool stuff too.
Well, you like the whole brand because they have all kinds of accessories. But so, yeah.
Tape to cover the car. You know, some of these stereo shops, they keep the car for like 3 weeks.
Has any of the top secret project of his has that evolved at all?
I haven't talked to him. I mean, you talked to him.
But we didn't. Yeah, but we talked about life, bro.
Oh.
We didn't talk about. I know way too much now.
Talk about business.
No, life.
Come on, man.
That's Fernando's sound treatment hand. No.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Hard to do it now. Jeez.
Yeah. Speaking of sound treatment, we're on day 2 of the Scion Tc, and What? Yeah. What is it?
It's a TC.
I was gonna say it is a TC. I put XC.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, because XA, XB, TC makes total sense. Either way, we got the speakers in the doors. Passenger doors already put back together. I had them wait to put the driver's side on. You guys saw this. This is the tweeter wire. This is going to be a full active system off of an Arc Audio Blackbird. So in this particular vehicle, they run 4 wires in the door to power all 6 speakers because the mid-range and the tweeter are on the same channel. And how they do that is there's a connector that is here that typically connects to the tweeter. So it comes into the door, connects to the tweeter, out of the tweeter into the mid-range. There's a capacitor on this, there's a capacitor on the tweeter. And the 2 of them do their thing. And we're obviously not going to do that. We want to go full active. So we showed you this yesterday. This is the Flax 3-way set. The tweeters are mounted into the door. They go right here. And yesterday we had not built the bracket to hold the mid bass. We wanted to match the 6x9 shape, so there was a thought process behind it, and I will kind of break it down.
Watch my story.
Yeah. Watch my story. Anyways, so it is inset in that it's there's nothing behind this. The window actually stops right about here. And we inset this in so that the surround is like a 32nd of an inch below this. So this is the highest point, and when this moves, it's going to come out some, but there's a gap, a small gap between here and the door panel. This is getting a foam gasket. It's a modified. We're doing a modified fast ring. So the back is all fast ring. So the foam plug, the foam back piece is all in place, but the front is actually going to be the Morel foam, and it actually attaches to the door panel. So when this goes on, it rides right along this area here, which is really cool. How we made this, I wanted the 6x9 shape because I wanted to take advantage of the 1-inch spacer that comes off of the door. A lot of the times you end up cutting those off, and I didn't want to do that because it's plastic. It's going to be thicker and more rigid than just putting foam out 3 inches. That seems silly. So this is actually built out 1.25 inches and then countersunk in. So this is 1-inch material here. It's black. It just looks white because of the contrast and whatnot. And so the idea was to create the 6x9 shape, put the 6.5 in. Obviously the 6.5 is a little bigger. So we traced the shape of the factory piece. We took a picture of it, imported it in the software, drew it, and then we went up in size 3/8 of an inch. So this is, or actually 0.375. We went up 0.375 bigger than the original shape so that we could make sure there was a nice lip here for the foam to rest on when we put it in. And then of course he lined up the focal, and that's it. It sits kind of sideways, but the speaker sits flat. So a lot of thought went into this, and if you'll notice, there's a size difference on these, just because of the way the brackets are in the door. We wanted to move the speaker over to center it up. But yeah, so that's it. That's the 2 speakers, the tweeters in place. Next up for me is this space right here. There was a factory amplifier right here, which I've pulled the harness out, and it is now located. It's going to be located here in the center console. It uses a standard 1761 harness. We just remodified. We took one and modified it in order to fit our needs. So this is repinned now. So this will just plug in to give us our speakers, with the exception of the tweeters. We'll run our own tweeter wires. This is the amp rack here. It's going to bolt into the floor on this area that is located here, and then the amp will go like this. All the power will go up there. Signal and speaker wire will come this way. Actually, just mainly signal. Speaker wire will come up into the center console. We'll make this connection, so we'll lengthen this out a little bit. And what I've got here is the speed wire from Metra. So this is the 18 gauge. This has the 5 pairs of conductors. When we're doing these amplifiers like this that come with this plug, we are putting a radio in, so we need RCAs. The problem I have is that this is what I get for a harness, and all these RCAs are in the same spot. They don't stagger them, and it drives me crazy because now I gotta have this, and it's gonna be bigger, and I hate it with a passion. I hate it so much. So we're not gonna use this. We're gonna use the high level harness here, and we're going to attach our own RCAs to it. So we'll twist these up, we'll add some twisted pairs to them, and we'll solder RCAs in behind the radio and plug those in. And that's why we're using the 5 conductor, because we'll have front, rear, and sub here. And then we've capped off the ones we're not going to be using with just some shrink wrap, so we don't have to worry about any bad things going on. And that's really it. Speaker wires will be here, and this will get attached to this harness, and some power remotes, and that's the whole thing. So that's what's going on. How exciting. I asked about cutting out audio last Thursday on the RP. If I fade to the side that's cutting out and increase volume, it comes back. Thoughts? That might actually be a speaker problem. Sometimes you'll have there again, it's all the speakers, which is kind of weird. If it's just like one speaker, that would kind of make sense, because that could be a voice coil that's doing some bad things. And as you turn up the amount of voltage to it, kind of like tacks it together and starts moving. But that's just like one speaker. The whole side doing it, I don't really see that as being a thing, unless there's something wrong inside of the amplifier and it's kind of doing the same thing. So that is kind of weird. Do you guys argue a lot off camera? Yeah, all the time.
Oh, every day.
We actually do it on purpose most of the time, because a lot of times we agree on the same thing. So one of us, usually me, will just go the other way just so we can argue about it. Kind of makes the day go by.
Yeah, it's fun.
Question, isn't Harman Kardon owned by Samsung? Yes, the whole Harman, it's actually Harman International is what it's called. Harman Kardon is a brand of Harman International.
Nah, but who owns Harman?
Harman International was bought by Samsung, I think right before COVID, because Samsung wanted an into aftermarket audio. They wanted to get into the car business, and no one would buy Samsung stuff. So it was easier in their minds to just buy the biggest OE audio manufacturer, because by far Harman International is the largest company that is making stuff for factory fit automotive sound. So other than Bose and Boston Acoustics, they pretty much own that whole market space. So you name it, that's their company. They own a ton of stuff. What's a tons of sound in the little car sub? So this is just going to be getting a Kenwood Exelon 112 factory ported box. That's going to go in the back, powered off of channel 7 and 8 of the Arc Audio amplifier.
Blackbird, to be exact.
Yes.
Hang on. Go up.
Hold on. Why do I need to go up?
No, I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, I'm going. I'm reading through Christian's nonsense.
Right there.
Is the Morel speaker ring long enough to do a 6x9?
Follow me.
What are we talking about? Oh, yeah, you could do a Morel 6x9
So-
of this.
So we have the ring.
Oh, as far as...
This is the ring. This is a 6x9. So definitely
Yeah.
ring it's enough to do a 6x9.
Yeah, because we didn't have to cut it or anything.
No,
And this
we
is
normally put this foam on the other side, but the speaker
This
bracket
worked out
that you
better.
made actually rests in here, so this actually works better.
Yeah,
so
this
sometimes
works a
you
lot
gotta-
better.
And you did that.
I did this on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
You're-
talked
you're
about
amazing,
it.
Morel.
I know,
You're
I'm
amazing.
just so cool. But yes,
Yes.
this will wrap around a 6x9, no problem.
And now that we talk about Morel,
Hold on. Wait a minute. Just slow it down here.
now they... Are you ready?
Can you cut them to stagger the RC? No, it's a harness that's built. I'm not going to cut it. That would be silly. They should do that. Good afternoon, guys. We argue about that all the time. Like an old married couple. I've been married a really long time, and I don't argue with my wife. So, have you guys worked on a 23 Mitsubishi Outlander? Need a full system put in mind? That's going to be a no, we haven't, but that's not going to stop us from doing it. Okay, so... I promised. Slow down, Kelly. You were gone yesterday. I promised everybody. You weren't here yesterday.
Finish 4 speakers.
Yeah, but you weren't here when we went live, so that's just like you weren't here. Yeah, I mean, and you didn't finish any speakers yet. You finished a pair of speakers yesterday.
No.
Yeah. I know, because I didn't finish. Right, you didn't finish any of this yesterday because I was working on it all day yesterday.
We just put this.
I know,
today.
but that's today. You said finished it yesterday.
Was all done.
Sound treatment.
Everything.
Okay, whatever. Anyways, I told everyone yesterday we were going to open this box today. This is for Morel.
Yes.
So, these will probably end up in Haley's car, but this is going to be the conversation we're going to be having for a while, for the next couple. This is the ad, as it were, a product that they want to talk about, which is great because the only way I learn about things is to beat a dead horse, as they say, because Maximos, we had to talk about those for a long time because we had Maximus, we had Maximo. They did away with Maximus, went to Maximo, then we got Maximo HEs, and then we talked about carbon nanos, we talked about hybrids, we talked about elates, but we never talked about these, which is cool. And this is when we were out in Arizona, we had our lunch meeting, as it were, and we were like, hey, I think we should go back a little bit and talk about these, because as much as we all want to spend,
Oh, dude, look at this.
It's foam.
It's a lot of foam.
Yeah, it's a lot of foam. Anyways, as much as we all want to put, you know, $700-800 pair of speakers in the car, that's not a normal everyday thing. So Tempo Ultra is the piece that is above Maximo but below Virtus. So it's a really awesome line of speakers. This is where your 6x9 comes into play. So this is a 6.5-inch set of components. Yeah,
Yep.
gotta think about that as I said it. There's also a nice 3-way set in this line.
602. Yeah.
Yep, there's a 603. But let's pull this guy out and we'll take a quick look at it.
For sure. Just do the guy. Just make the guy that has one hand.
So anyways, so they do this cool little cage on the back, which on the 6x9 we have removed this. So if any of you guys are like, we've pulled it off to get a little extra bit of room.
Yeah, just to.
Because it is a bigger magnet,
Yep.
which is, you know, because it has a little higher power handling. It has the nice plastic, not the cheap, you know, end for speaker terminals to attach to, so you don't have to worry about it breaking off when you're trying to get those things on. It does have a larger, let's get some light on this. It does have a larger than average voice coil. So it's not a tiny, you know, invisible little voice coil. It has a bigger voice coil like you'd expect with a Morel.
Yeah.
You have the tweeter that comes with some mounts.
And it comes with mounts, like you say.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yep, broke it.
Yeah. Just
All right.
like old times.
Just like old times. Gotta drop it. Okay, there we go. Close that. We'll get the grill. One thing Morel does that's interesting is that the grills all put the logo at the top. Most of the time the logo goes like this, but they don't like to do that. So
Yeah.
all right, so this is
That's the 3.0.
This is a 1.1 voice coil, 80 watt 4 ohm, 90 dB. I wish I could read, but I can't because of my glasses.
What?
Frequency response is 18 to 2200. Tempo Ultra tweeter. So it has this cool little bridge over the top of it. Which for, you know, somebody like me who's going to drop it on the floor and do dumb stuff, saves the day. And then you have nice surround. You have your crossover here with the tweeter attenuation. So you have plus or minus 2 dB for the tweeter, which is easily done just by that. So there's no jumper on this one. There is a jumper on the 3-way, which it has a little jumper spot right here. But yeah.
And as always, Morels give you, you know, tempo 502, 602, so you are in this line right here.
Yep.
You know, it's a 4 ohm, 130 watts.
Where can they find these?
You can find this here in this store. You can come and order them now, but you can go online and find these at morelhifi.com. You can check all this and buy a cool set of components and coaxials for your car.
We'll take a look at the coaxials tomorrow because, you know, we don't want to sit here and talk about these all day. Sounds like I need to swap out my DSP. The Kenwood 606 software is really easy to figure out. Blackbird or Arctro, which is easier? So easier is one of those things that it's hard to say which one is easier. You have way more adjustment in a Blackbird than you do in an audio control, but do you need all that adjustment? I don't know. The Kenwood is, when you compare to both of their softwares, like not even, like it's so easy to use. But in a way, it's also confusing because it's real limited on what you can do. Those two softwares have a lot of ability to do things that you definitely cannot do with the Kenwood software. The nice thing is you can download both of them and give them a try. I will say the one major difference between the two is if you're an Apple user like me, the audio control software is Mac compatible, so you don't have to run a Windows machine to use it, which is kind of cool. My amp only clips what front speakers are connected. Speakers are new. Any ideas? I mean,
What?
when it clips the front speakers, do you have the right ohm load? Have you tried turning the gain down? Maybe adjust the crossover. It's kind of strange. How many DSPs do I need for 2 4-channel amps? So that's 8 channels, depending on what you're going to do with them. So you'd need at least something that has 8 channels of output. Yeah, that's really about it. 8 channels of output. You have the Arc Audio PSM Pro, DSR1. There's a Helix that's like that. A lot. The audio control 6 to 8.
Yeah.
So that's the easy one. Karate chop, definitely. Set gains with my Lumi scope, but notice I didn't set my low pass filter at 80 hertz, and it was still at 50, and tested time at 50 hertz when I set my filter with O-scope still attached. It showed clipping. We'll definitely want to put it back at 80. And the other thing too is, okay, what track are you playing? Are you playing a 0 dB, a 5 dB, -5, -10? You could be getting clipping easily. So there again, it just depends on what's going on, where the crossover is. The other thing too is, are you using a factory deck or an aftermarket deck? If you're using a factory deck, there could be an EQ band at the frequency of the test tone that you're playing, like 1,000 hertz or 40 hertz or something like that. There could be a boost there, and then you're making it -5 or -10 dB. Could already be a boost of 5 or 10 dB from the factory, so you could be getting clipping. If you're using an oscilloscope, try different frequencies. So try moving it around to see if, unless it's an aftermarket radio, in which case, no. What door speakers do you recommend for RAM 1500 2021 to run mids and highs on? I mean, if you just that was a weird question. Kind of didn't make sense, but I mean, if you want a 3-way set, you're probably going to end up with a 6.5 3-way set. If you want to do if it has a 2-way set, we do a lot of Kenwood 6903s. That way you get a coaxial 3.5, but it's a 6x9 and a 3.5 in there. Unless it is the premium audio, and then it's 2 3.5, 2 pairs of 3.5s and a 6.5 or a 6x9. So then you can do a 3-way set, mid-range in the door, mid-range in the dash, tweeter in the door. We've done a couple different things in those. I like those crossovers so much more than the Flex. Okay. You need a laser Morel badge for Fernando's car. Well, he's probably isn't going to put... What's up, Chris? I think he's going to put Focals. Actually, I think he wants to put Gladens in there, so...
Cast. For the cast.
Oh! I don't know where I got car from.
Because, sure.
Yeah, okay. Where can I download test tones for my DD1 and CC1?
With a CD.
Well, yeah, but if you lose the CD, have you been to West Coast Car Audio, his webpage, to see if they have them as downloads? I know
West Coast?
Yeah, it's like West Coast. Yeah, it's like WC Car Audio or something like that. It's Steve Mead's page. It's an SMD product, so I mean, you could probably just Google it. I mean, you can. The DD1 CD is actually in iTunes, so you can get it there. It's just a 40 hertz and 1,000 hertz. So for those, we don't use his tracks anymore. We just use the Educar tone generator app in our phone. And then for the CC one, you need a tone generator.
There you go. He sells a flash drive for them.
He does sell a flash drive for them,
go.
right? But if you're, a tone generator app for the CC one is really all you need. Just something that plays a frequency and it'll read it and copy it. There again, we just use our phones for that. But he does sell a flash drive for like $20.
$20?
Yeah.
$20 is $20.
Whatever it takes. How can I set different rear fill on my Tweak 88? I have no idea.
Differential.
I have no idea. Yeah, I mean, I have a Tweak 88, but I've only
I think you have
played
a
with it.
video on the Tweak 88.
I do, but it's not anything that, like, it's nerdy into, like, differential rear fill.
Right. It's just the, I think it's just the layout.
Yeah, I mean...
Setup. Input setup, something like that.
That would probably be a great question to ask in, like, a JL forum. But...
Yeah.
Have you ever installed amps and a DSP in a 2015 Audi A4 with factory Bang & Olufsen audio? Can I use the speaker outputs out of the factory amp as an input to an audio-controlled DSP? You can, but I would check to see if somebody has an interface for that, like MoBridge, possibly Still Nab TV. I would also check
Fisher?
with Audio Tech Fisher and or Gladen, Moscone Gladen. So I'm pretty sure they all have an adapter for that, maybe. But otherwise, yes, you can come out of you can do what's called a speaker for speaker. You have to keep in mind that there's a lot of channels, and the audio controls have one extra set of channels. So if it's a 6-channel amp, they have 8 channels of input. If it's a 5-channel, they have 7 channels. So you may need more channels, and if you're going to try to sum it together, you're gonna need an RTA to. Well, it has an electrical RTA built into it, but it is going to be fun. Definitely going to be fun. So, but yeah, totally.
Well,
have fun with it.
Don't
I'm
forget
pretty
to
sure
check.
somebody makes an interface for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't forget to check the Tempo Ultras 602, MorelHiFi.com. That is proud sponsor of the 5 Minutes Big 5-Star. So,
yeah. You guys have a great day as always. We'll see you later next time.
bye.
Bye. Getting like hotboxed inside of this Scion. It's like a little sweat lodge, opening our pores. Yeah. What's up, everyone? Good day. Welcome to the show. It's 5 Minutes 5-Star. And today we are finishing up the Scion Tc.
Yeah.
I got it right. This has an Arc Audio Blackbird, some Focal Flax up front, and then running off the radio is the integration Focal inside, factory Toyota 6.5 mount in the rear coming off the radio, level controlled through the radio. And it's got a Kenwood Exelon 12-inch loaded enclosure in the back. It's all powered off of the Blackbird, with the exception of the rear speakers. The nice thing about the Kenwood 997?
997,
and
yeah.
998, something like that, is that it has level controls for all the speakers, so we can go in and turn the rears down. So,
Yeah.
What's up? And we're in here today, and we're just finishing up, and we were playing with the DNA software. Let me flip this around and show you what I'm talking about. So we're playing with the DNA software, and there's a couple features that are built into this that we've been talking about on the show. And one of them is if we come into here and we go, and it's hidden. We go to Mixer Assistant, and they have this one right here that's called Super Bass. Now, Super Bass is not for bass, okay? It's kind of a bad name for something, but it's an innuendo. It's actually max bass, which is, if you don't know, a feature created by a company called Wave, and it does some. Okay, if you've got a phone, and you're like, how does this thing hammer? Or if you got one of those cool JBL speakers or something like that, it uses a feature called max bass. It's a whole equalization. We like to call it Martian technology. Anyways, it's not. They have a version of it. It's called Super Bass inside of here. Now, inside of the TC, one of the things that we were running into, let me put these back down so you guys aren't like, oh my God, he looks so weird, is we have 6 speakers and 2 doors. You have this perfect array of a 6, a 2.5, and a tweet. It's fantastic. But there is not enough sound treatment in the world to make this 12-year-old car not vibrate and rattle and do weird things. And so this feature helps that because it locks in a specific frequency does a whole bunch of magic that I don't understand yet, but I will. Talking with Brad and Brian, B&B, we're like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. And we're not going to get deep into that, but Mary Lou in the show? Oh my gosh. What's up, Oscar?
What's up, buddy?
Let's do some quick shout outs. Hey, remember Super Bass on Sony Walkmans? Very similar. Yeah. Probably, yeah, for sure. Anyways, now we made 2 presets, one with it and without it. And the nice thing about the Arc Audio software, it is super fast. And you can just between the 2. But you wanna sit back, and Fernando's over here with his eyes closed, dreaming of a better time when he didn't have the cast on his arm.
I was actually dreaming.
You taking a nap?
Yeah.
This is a remnants from the car accident from 2 months ago. He had a crack in his thumb area, and it's not healing. And he's not wearing his thingy that he's supposed to wear. So they said, "We'll fix your little red wagon," and they gave him a blue cast. So now he's irritated. I don't know. He was an angry little Mexican. Anyways, so we want to listen to preset 1 and preset 2. Preset 1 was normal. Preset 2 has super bass, and we wanted to be able to hear between and really listen to those things. And this is a really cool feature built into the DNA software from Arc. Check this out. So, all right. So if we come over here, we're going to close this, and we're going to go to Tools. We're going to come down here where it says AB. And now we can decide how long we want it to play each one. In this case, we have one called Max Bass. We have one called Scion Tc. And then you hit start. And now when you're listening to it, press play for a second. It did the whole took a test mode. So now when you're listening to it, does that little pause and it switches to B. And then in 10 seconds, so now we can hear what it sounds like with this setting. And we don't have to look at and now it's switched to A. And what that does, stop. We're gonna hit stop. Oh. Yeah, close that. Go ahead and pause. And so what that does is that gives us the ability, there we go. That gives us the ability to not pay attention to what's going on and just listen for the subtle differences between the two to figure out which one we actually like. And I can do that with Fernando, and I can just say, okay, tell me which one you like. And that little pause allows you to, as you're listening, you don't really keep track. Definitely, we'll get her on. So it's a really cool feature that allowed us and helped us tune this car today. There's more to it than that as far as where you got to route the signal through and do all that nonsense. But like we talk about on the show, it's the subtle differences in the software. It allows you to dig deep. These more advanced softwares have some really cool stuff. Just little things that are fun to play with. And if they make it sound better in the end, that's all that really matters. Now, the other thing is we're done tuning this car. We've already saved it. But I love the DNA software because I can just rip this USB right out of it and it doesn't care. When I plug it back in, it'll go back to exactly where I was.
You don't have to save it?
I don't have to do nothing. I can be as mean to this thing as I want to. Oh, I love it. It's so cool. Woo! Dang.
Is that a save?
I don't know what it does. It just works.
Oh my god!
Well, I've been sitting there for an hour now. What's up, Morel? How are you doing?
Hey. Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Hey. Oh, where'd the coaxials go?
The coaxials are over here, man.
Are they over where? I think they're back up front in the box. Grab the coaxials. If you caught the show yesterday, we talked about the new They're not new to us. They're not new to us either. We talked about the new things we're talking about. There we go. Which is the Tempo Ultras. And yesterday we talked about the coaxials. Today, I'm sorry. Jeez, oh man. Yeah, you think it was
components.
Yesterday we talked to components. Today we're going to talk Kimonas.
Yeah.
And today we're going to talk about the coaxials. So let's open these boxes up.
So this is the Tempo Ultra MK2 602 Integras. Why are they called Integras?
It means point source.
There you go.
So these are a point source driver. So
Same thing?
Yep. Owner's manual,
Instructions
stickers.
in here and the specifications, you can find it in there.
4 layers of cardboard.
Yeah.
And then now point source drivers are have a couple different features. As far as installation goes, the tweeter doesn't stick up and get in the way. It's down deep into the mid-range. That has to do with aligning the drivers so that you get a better sound. Not all drivers work. This is specifically designed to be a point source. So you have the Morel crossovers around the back, broken apart and attached to the basket.
Yeah.
Bigger voice coil because it is a Morel. But there you go. Nice. Have the cool, not cardboard, crappy, cheap speaker terminal. Have a nice plastic mounted piece. You have the back metal array. Oh wow, this one is not vented. Oh, this is the tweeter. That is why when they put the cool little plastic. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, it looks like that. Anyways, this is a bi-ampable speaker if you need it to be. So you have your tweeter wire coming out over here, and you have 2 sets of terminals. Turn it around. Let me see the back again. So you have 2 sets of terminals here.
This is the mid bass.
And here. They are joined, so you don't actually have to, but if you want to, you can connect them. See how they put the epoxy over it here so that you don't make the mistake, but if you wanted to, you can easily remove the epoxy with like a knife, and you could go bi-amped on these if that is something you want to do.
You can grab it from here, right? So
the mid-range.
The cable, no, the tweeter. Because the tweeter runs over here.
Yeah, that's for the mid-range.
Yeah.
Well, that's the mid-range on that side. Now, keep in mind, these are budget-friendly speakers, so more than likely, you probably won't be bi-amping them. But if you wanted to, you totally could. You totally could. Now, Fernando, where can they find out more about these speakers?
You can find... Oh, I actually ordered my...
Did you order your cast hand thing I'm going to talk about?
Like that. You can actually order this beautiful speakers.
Order?
Order.
Oh. Why would you order? Why don't you just go in a dealer and buy them?
I mean, well, you want to see them.
Okay.
Whatever turns them. But anyway, MorelHiFi.com. That's the place that you can see the specifications of Morel Integras, Morel 602, tempos, components, and all the line about Morel. MorelHiFi.com.
Now we've talked about Maximos, HEs, and the regular Maximo lines.
Yep.
We talked about tempos.
We
haven't talked about tempos.
Biggie.
Virtus, Biggie. Anyways, if you'd like to know more about Morel, like he said, go over there, check it out. This car is done, so we're gonna take the battery tender off of it so we can get it out there. Here's the fuse holder that Fernando. Boy, I'm not having it. I'm really not. Yeah. Fernando made this. So, yep. That's that. The car is done. Oh, you know what? I can show them the amp underneath the seat. Because that's actually, we haven't screwed the seats out yet. So, hang on. Let's get that out.